Part 4. The heavy doors of the grand hall loomed ahead of him, but Rafe hardly noticed the golden archways, the flowers, or the rows of people staring as he stood at the altar. His hands were clasped loosely behind his back, but inside, his chest felt tight. Too tight for someone who was supposed to be getting married. Rafe, I thought I would be calm. I stood in the middle of gunfire and didn't flinch. I've stared down enemies without blinking. But this is worse. He watched the guests murmur and crane their necks, waiting for her. Serena. He should be happy, shouldn't he? This was what her father wanted. What Serena herself had said yes to so suddenly. And yet, his jaw tensed as he stared at the polished floor. Something about her acceptance hadn't sat right with him. He remembered that night when her father's called, saying she told him to prepare the wedding fast. And when she was talking to the wedding planner, her voice was steady, but it was as if she was someone else entirely. Rafe could still hear himself asking quietly, "Are you sure? We can let this go if..." And her father cutting in, "That's what she wants now. Let it be." She is seated, hands resting lightly on her gown and holding her bouquet. The room was quiet, save for the faint murmur of music and laughter echoing from the hall. Somewhere beyond those doors, an entire world was waiting, watching. Her chest felt heavy, not with fear. No, she had buried that already, but with a kind of numb resolve. A knock at the door pulled her from her thoughts. Her father stepped in, like it was any ordinary day. But when his eyes met hers, his movements stilled. Her father, stepping close. "You know," he began, then paused. His voice softened. "You don't have to go through with this, Serena. Even now, you can still say no." She blinked at him, startled for a moment. But then, she stands slowly. She offered a polite, practiced smile. "I know," she said evenly, "but everything is already prepared. Let's not waste everyone's time." Her father's brows drew together, but he didn't argue. He simply sighed and held out his arm. Her father leans closer as they walk, voice low, soft enough that only she hears. Her father, quiet. "Your mother's father hated me, you know. Said I'd ruin her. Said she deserved better." Serena doesn't look at him, but her polite smile doesn't waver. Her father, "And I probably did. But she stayed. And she made me better." Serena swallowed hard but said nothing. The doors opened and the music swelled. All eyes turned to her, but she only focused on the long, shining path ahead, and at the man standing at the altar. Rafe. He looked calm, almost unreadable, but she noticed the way his jaw clenched when their eyes met. Her father leaned closer and whispered, "One step at a time, darling. I'm right here. One step at a time." The music started. Everyone stood. And then she appeared at the end of the aisle. Her arm looped through her father's. For a moment, the breath caught in his throat. Serena looked. Stunning, of course. The gown hugged her frame. Her hair gleamed under the lights, and her face was calm, collected. But even from here, he could see the way she avoided his eyes, the way her fingers tightened faintly on her father's arm before letting go. Rafe forced a smile, though it didn't quite reach his eyes. If she's hiding something, if she's doing this for reasons she won't say, then why am I standing here waiting for her? Her father leaned closer and whispered, "One step at a time, darling. I'm right here." She slid her fingers from her father's arm as they reached the altar, her palm now resting in Rafe's waiting hand. His hand was warm, solid, and she didn't let herself flinch. Instead, she lifted her chin, smoothed the mask back into place, and thought, "Serena, you chose this. You can endure it." And so she stood there, quiet and beautiful, next to the man who would soon become her husband. And Rafe looked down at her then, catching just a flicker of something. Resentment? Fear? Before her mask settled back into place. And as the priest began to speak, Rafe made a quiet vow to himself. "I'll figure you out, Serena. Even if it takes all the time in the world. I'll find out why you're really standing here with me." The priest's voice droned faintly in the background as Serena stood beside Rafe, her fingers still lightly resting in his. Vows. She hadn't let herself think about this part. When the priest finally turned to her and asked, "Do you, Serena, take Rafe to be your lawfully wedded husband?" She drew in a breath and answered clearly, "I do." Her voice didn't even shake. Then it was his turn. Rafe's grey eyes stayed fixed on hers, steady, unreadable. "I do." he said without hesitation. The words didn't seem to weigh him down at all. The priest blessed the rings, and they slid them onto each other's fingers. Serena noticed how warm his hands were, how careful he was not to grip her too tightly. Then the priest added something about building a home, raising a family, and teaching their children to walk in love. At the mention of children, Serena felt the faintest chill at the back of her neck, but she kept her face calm. Beside her, Rafe's lips twitched almost imperceptibly, as though he'd noticed her reaction. Then priest finally say, "You may now kiss the bride." Serena stiffened, thinking, wait, I forgot about this part. Do I have to do it with him? And then, he leaned toward her, close enough that she could feel his breath on her cheek. Wait. What? He chuckled and murmured back, "Don't worry." Then, with a perfectly smooth motion, he tilted his head just right, shielding them from the guests' view and pressing his lips to the air, just beside her cheek. From where everyone else stood, it must have looked flawless. The guests erupted into applause. Serena blinked at him, genuinely startled. Rafe straightened slowly, his expression calm and polite, as though nothing had happened. After the pictures and their first dance, the reception started. The reception is glittering. Champagne flows, guest chat and music fills the air. Serena changed her dress. She stands to one side, graceful and unreadable, sipping from her glass. Her smile practiced but empty. Her father mingles across the room, and Rafe is one corner talking to a guest and gazing at her with quiet intensity. Serena didn't even say a word to him, even when he tried starting a conversation while they were dancing. She didn't respond. Suddenly, Serena. Her head snaps toward the sound, startled. There in the hall stands Nina, one of her favorite friends from her party days, who helps her take pictures. Her father's friend daughter. Nina, in a sleek emerald gown, clutching a cane in one hand but smiling brightly. Serena, genuine surprise. Nina? Nina hurries over as fast as her legs allow, and Serena instinctively steps toward her. For the first time all day, her perfect mask cracks into something real. She smiles, and her eyes almost shimmer. They move to a small table in the corner, away from the crowd. Serena stares at her for a moment without a word, because she ignored her calls and text when she was locked up. Serena, you didn't answer a single call or text. Why are you? Nina, interrupting, apologetic. I know. I'm sorry. I was in an accident a few weeks ago. It was life-threatening, but I tried calling when I woke up. Serena blinks, her hand tightening on her glass. Then she exhales softly and shakes her head. Nina, changing the subject. Why do you look so shocked? You didn't think I'd miss this, did you? Serena, faint smile. You could have told me you were coming. Nina, you know me. I like making an entrance. They both laugh quietly, and for a fleeting moment, Serena actually looks happy. Nina glances toward the corner where Rafe is still watching, his gaze heavy and unblinking. She smirks, leaning closer to Serena. Nina, teasing, so, he's your father's dog? You didn't tell me he was this fine. Way better than that boyfriend of yours. Serena rolls her eyes faintly but doesn't argue. Nina keeps going. Nina, if you don't want him, let me know. Serena lets out a little laugh and shakes her head. Serena. Dry. Don't wish for something like that. Nina grins knowingly before changing the subject. Nina. Oh, by the way, did you ever get your hands on that limited edition dress? The one you were obsessing over? Serena smirks faintly. Serena. Of course I did. You think I'd let anyone else snatch it first? They both giggle quietly. Nina. There's a party this weekend. Let's go. Serena. Maybe the next one. She smiles because she knows she will be too busy ruining her marriage. Then she stares at Rafe. She murmured, "This is your choice too, soldier. Let's see who breaks first." Across the room, Serena's father stands next to Rafe, both watching the two women. Her father folds his arms, murmuring to Rafe without looking at him. Her father softly. She needed that. Rafe keeps his eyes on Serena, his expression unreadable, but there's a faint flicker of something in his gaze. something like relief. Later, Rafe and her father step out onto the balcony for a moment of quiet, both of them standing side by side, looking through the glass doors where Serena sits, talking to her friend. Serena glows in her dress, her perfect smile dazzling the crowd. Though there's something sharp in her eyes, Rafe notices. She laughs politely at something her friend says. Serena's father takes a slow sip of champagne, breaking the silence. Her father. She's something, isn't she? Beautiful. Just like her mother. Rafe doesn't answer at first, just watches Serena calmly, his hands in his pockets. Rafe, quietly. She is beautiful. Her father chuckles softly, touching his shoulder. Serena's father. Do you know what you're signing up for, boy? She's not easy, but she's everything to me. Rafe's lips twitch faintly. I know, but his gaze is still on Serena. She's my wife now. That's all there is to it. Her father hums approvingly. Serena's father. Thank you, son. I can rest now knowing you're by her side. In fact, I went ahead and bought a house for you two. Nice one. Out near the hills. Big yard, plenty of space. For the first time, Rafe turns to look at him, his expression calm but firm. Rafe. I appreciate it, but no. Her father blinks, surprised. Rafe, steady. I'll handle everything myself. She's my wife. My responsibility. I already have a job lined up. Her father raises an eyebrow, studying him quietly. But Rafe doesn't flinch. Rafe, lower but certain. I'll make sure she has everything she wants. Even if she doesn't want me. Even if she hates me. Her father's mouth slowly curls into a smile. Proud, a little amused. He swirls the champagne in his glass and lets out a soft chuckle. Serena's father, grinning. That's my boy. You sound just like me when I married her mother. Stubborn, full of pride. Wouldn't take a damn thing from anyone. They both turn back to watch Serena, who is now smiling, her delicate fingers toying with her champagne glass. But after a moment, her father's grin falters slightly, his gaze softening as his thoughts turn darker. Serena's father, more to himself. But will she be happy with that? Rafe keeps watching Serena, who suddenly glances toward the balcony and catches his eyes for the briefest second. She quickly looks away, her smile sharper than before. Her father lets out a slow breath beside him, the proud grin back on his face. But there's still a shadow of worry lingering in his eyes.
Don't forget to like and subscribe and turn on your notification to know when I upload the next chapter.